Hello, hello. For those of you joining me today, for the first time, my name is Wago. I teach in Hilo, Hawaii. I work a couple jobs, but I teach 2 days a week, and I love it. Play with one band right now, we're teching music, and I do online lessons. So if you're at a certain point in your musical exploration and you're looking for a little something else that's going to take you to the next level, I might have what you're looking for in being able to explain just a couple concepts which go generally. What happens in music is we learn at our own pace, and something happens when you learn concepts that, you know, you watch others do that you want to emulate. One thing I want to do is like play all the music I heard, so I tried most of my life to try and do like Elmer, Lincoln Palmer, King Crimson, Billy Joel, Ben Folds 5 on the piano side, Victor Wooten, bass side. So when you listen to a certain artist, you actually start to emulate little characteristics of them, and when you emulate enough concepts and ideas, it generally turns into something pretty cool. You develop your own special kind of sense of being on your instrument. And the more I listen to people talk about that construct and how it, it amalgamates from being one thing and turns into another, it blows my mind. So, which is why I've devoted a lot of time and effort to learning how to play music, learning how to sight read, and how to explain music in maybe terms that somebody has never heard before. I don't know, I guess I could just tell you what I do generally. On Music Mondays, I answer questions. So if you are here and you've got questions about how things work, first thing, get an instrument. Second thing, research that instrument. You will learn a lot just by figuring out what the names of things are. The headstock, tuning pegs, strings, body, sound hole, bridge, saddle, nut, fretboard, fretting. When you look at all the things on this that make it, like the laminate binding inlay, the bridge made of a different wood, how it's sunk through and then generally has 2 holes which connect to a piece underneath. The inside has this bracing on the outside for heat and temperature, and it's cut so it's scalloped. The idea that this took so long to get from one point, which was just basically a pineapple-shaped gourd with a stick off of it and, strings made of guts that were wound down with oil so they resembled strings and became strings, like, pretty cool. And now this thing, we get to enjoy and do whatever we need to do with it. Me personally, I like learning note structures and listening to things on this ook, but the one thing that does help me is I learn how to play with all my different fingerings, which helps on banjo, really helps on finger picking for like guitar or any other thing that you're moving. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to playing a harp again and trying that. I used to tune them when I worked at Music Folk in Missouri, and it's still there probably. Dawn and Andy and everyone and Donna. And then, you know what? I really enjoyed the Celtic harps, but they're very hard to tune. Also, the hammer dulcimers and the hammer dulcimers are probably the hardest thing I've ever tuned. Other than that, 4 chords, pretty simple. What I do when I wake up, I kind of go through just these. I call them spider exercises. A lot of people call them a lot of things, but what they do is they help me warm up my brain and my fingers. So I've got one finger, I'm playing on the right hand, and then my left hand is also playing one finger at a time. I'm working up in the frets, not on the frets, because that doesn't make a note. In the middle does. And what happens when I get all the way to the top, I actually keep that system going. So it gives me natural rhythm. And then once I get through on the first finger, I go to the second finger, and then I utilize this one to get used to where I need to be to play each string. If I'm having trouble getting each individual note, I try doing these 8th notes. And if the 8th notes aren't working, I try doing just a quarter note until I can get a nice smooth sound out of there. So when I do these every morning, what happens is I form muscles in my hands, my tendons, my ligaments, my fingers. Bingies! So the cool thing about that thing is you can do these in 3 different portions. So the way that I teach is 1, 2, and then 3. When we have these 3 different sections, I could play chords like a G major and play it up here. It's in a different section, but it's registered to where my fingers would naturally be. if I put a bar chord down, thusly making my first finger the nut. This cage system, or the movable slidable system, the halftone system, whole tone system, the way that we look at this way of moving up is any chord you can play, like an F major, which has a A on your G string, has an open C on the C string, has an F on the E string, half step away, and then an open A, giving you a FAC. A little tune. Better. If you've got this F major, you could actually take the F major, take your first finger off, put your second finger where your first finger was, put your third finger on. Same chord, but now you can scoot it up a bar chord. What happens when we have these chords, you will notice you can take any chord you have down here. So let's say like a weird one. How about E minor? Boop, boop, boop. So this one that you know as an E minor is the open phrasing, has the high G up here. Now if you played it anywhere else, you would still have that high G, so it does not work. Unless you're gonna put that finger over here, which feels incorrect because it kind of is. You could use one finger to cover both of those, because that note right there would give you the high note, which is the same B, and an E, G, B, E minor, that would work. However, I would say that playing the D minor in a second fingering and scooting it up not a half step with that bar, but a whole step with that bar would give you essentially D minor, D sharp minor, E minor. So both of these E minors can be used anywhere. Why is this not a minor shape? It is. E minor, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So when we go through the process of learning the bass chords, the notes down here like a C major, bear in mind you could scoot them up a half step and bar now that whole first fret and get a C sharp, D, D sharp, so on and so forth. This system has really helped me to see how, if we're playing something like, follow with me, C major, B7, so we're going to bar up the whole thing like a B minor seventh and add the major third, which gives us B7. And then if we went over to the next chord, we could get an A flat major. I could say it's a G major or a G sharp and an A flat, G sharp, same thing. Put that finger up here to mute that top G string. Or you can play an F major, right, in second fingering, and scoot that up to the third fret, which gives you an A flat major. Alternately, you could play that same triangle shape and put your pinky here, but as I said, it doesn't feel right because now that one finger has really nowhere to go but up, and the extension notes you're going to hit, the only extension note you would hit is up at the seventh, and that's way too far of a stretch for that pinky. Unless you're doing it, then good on you. I just can't. Small fingers. So what I do every morning is I warm myself up with this, and then I go, after I do my practice, I tell myself what I want to do. Like maybe today I'm going to do a 1, 2, 4, 3. Then 1, 3, 2, 4. I go through the process of letting my brain make up different strains. Now those are 4-note variables, and here's the reason why spiders that are random are important. When you do these, when you get your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, major Ionian, you can actually change that first note from C to D, play the same C major scale, and then add a D up top, and you get D Dorian. It feels like a major, but it's in the minor, and if you start with your D, you can have that Dorian phrase. The reason why these modal structures are taught in this kind of fashion is because when you go through E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, that feeling of that note is not a diatonic note. It's a chromatic note because it's not in the key of C. Is it? Can't play C and have D sharp or E flat. It's just out of the pocket there. However, it is in a different mode. And what happens is each time you move up these modal structures and play just the same notes that were in C, this time the fifth will be Mixolydian. It demonstrates where the half steps and whole steps are. So if none of that made sense, maybe check out the Circle of Fifths video I did, or check out any video online that talks about how to find chords, how to make them. Other than that, if you have any questions on Mondays, I am here, same time, generally for 15-20 minutes to answer any questions. Aloha.